You've had some of those recently too, haven't you?
Yeah. All right. So let me bring this into the picture. You set us up. I understand one of our leadership team members is in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I think she needs to get up here and watch as I present this.
Excellent.
And we do have a very good guest tonight, I understand.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to the conversation that's yet to come. So, if you're,
All right.
go ahead.
Ready, guys, girls? Here we go. What's the big thing I've been pushing all day? If you're following our socials, you should know. I did not do these numbers. American Warriors Partnership did these numbers from a 5-year study. We are up to 44 veterans a day. That is one veteran lost every 32 minutes. So by the time we're done with this podcast, this event that we do, 2 veterans are going to lose their fight to the demons. Check your bet. Now, Crossroads Lawn and Garden, Benton, Kentucky. Help me understand here, boys and girls. Tractor and labor are free. That's God's blessing to us. No profit on the parts to fix it. $8,000 is the cost. $236.06 is in their can on the counter. We've been blasting that out for at least 2 months.
Can't believe it's not more than that yet. So
Yeah.
That's the call out. Anybody who is in a position where you could make a difference here, sincerely consider that, because this is something that will make a big difference on the grounds there. Funds are needed.
Yeah. All right. Here we go, boys and girls. You all want to snide questions on my DMs, on emails, on all this. Here we go. If your question has warranted my time, you're going to see it here on Mondays. This is the new PDH Asked and Answered. Because if you don't ask, we can't answer you. So, why should I pray every hour? Because I know for a fact prayer works. Anybody on this screen right now disagree with me on that?
Nope. I completely agree.
Okay. Prayer works every hour. Pray for the veterans to find hope. Mm-hmm. Pray for resources to be provided to this mission. Why should I share every day? Because you know I ask, pray, share, right? Every day. If you pick one thing of Project DieHard to share, it's going to reach the right person with the right resources to help. Why should I volunteer? Well, in a nutshell, it saves us resources. Anybody want to sprinkle in anything else on that? I don't know, but
it's an easy way to make a difference. Volunteering is simple to do. It gets you more familiar with what's happening, and it directly makes a difference here.
Sharing is caring.
There you go.
And you
Where
know
does
what? It doesn't take much to share because you know what? How many people go and get a cup of coffee at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts? Just think that instead of putting that money a week towards Dunkin' Donuts, they could just take a few cups of coffee that they spend and just share it with a good cause, which is Project DieHard.
yeah, okay.
If
That's
it,
where that question, where does my giving go? Okay, it doesn't go to my wallet, doesn't go to anybody's wallet on this screen.
nope.
Um John 139, scripture says, come and see. Um I'm not an expert on the Torah, but I know somewhere in there it says the same message. Come and see. Okay. But yeah, you're going to start seeing asked and answered. Right there, folks. You want to see where it all goes? Come and see. Check your vet. Support our community support program. Hey, why don't you join them? There's a lot on that, but it's all been put out. Quality, not cost, only the best. No red tape, i.e., government money. There's a bunch of small print there. Replay this, save it, blow it up, whatever you do. All I know is that demons don't win. So, brothers and sisters, don't give up.
Yep. You know what? I'm looking at that, Brian. That's our fighting demons. You know what? Many people are fighting demons. We can't let the demons overcome us because people love you. And you know what? Demons, sometimes they could be very overpowering, but then that's where we make a call. That's where you reach out. And that's why I reach out to a vet. Not only to a vet, it's to a loved one, a family friend. Vets are very important. This is all about vets, but people want to be felt like they're cared about and they're loved and wanted. And we all, you know what? Even if you have one or two friends, they care about you, they love you. Nobody wants to see a demon take over and overpower your inner, because they could just go away. Leave them alone. Think for tomorrow of what your impact of what you can do to make it a better world for you and your family and yourself.
Yeah, I'm in a full agreement. Everybody needs hope. I just
It's
specialize on my brothers and sisters because I'm going to remind everybody once again, veterans make up over 50% of every suicide in the nation. But yet we are less than 1% of the nation's population. Let that sink in, people. Let that sink in. Nobody thinks of the back end. They don't. They really, really don't. They don't think of the back end. The Father gave his Son for you. Veterans gave you freedom. Project DieHard gives them hope. Time or money, what will you give?
I love that. Yeah.
That's the slide deck. I understand we have a guest in the back who has went to the website, filled out the volunteer app. I know we have a one-on-one scheduled for tomorrow. But let's bring her in and let's talk to her. Sue, let's see if she's going to fit the team. Helene, let's see if she's going to fit the team.
Well, Christine is here. She is CEO of Affordable Bookkeeper, which, ironic that I said CFO because you handle that end too.
Definitely.
Why don't you come on in and introduce yourself and welcome. We're glad you're here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. And although I'm personally not a veteran, I come from a long family of people who have served. And, as a child, I remember being very eager and I wanted to find out about my dad, of what he did, during things. And I never understood why my dad didn't tell me more about his war experience and all of that until much later. I found out some of it through my brother-in-law, who's, my dad talked to my brother-in-law who was in the military and about stuff. And the stuff that's got filtered into me through my sister, it's like my dad made the right decision. There's certain things little girls don't need in their heads about the horrors that their fathers or brothers have done. And, I am thankful every day for the tremendous sacrifice that veterans and police officers and first responders in a variety of ways that have done, so I can sit here and drink my cup of tea with my Chicago Cubs mug and just enjoy life, and anything we can do to help ease the burdens on vets or anyone else who is suffering from that loss of hope, which is ultimately what turns people to suicide, because they don't believe there is any other option to end their pain except to end their life. And as somebody who's survived other things other than war trauma, there's a lot we can do to help people if they can just hang on long enough. And I think prayer is a huge part. But in a lot of ways, especially since we're in that 250th anniversary of our country and whatnot, I personally feel that it's every person's responsibility who's in this country to step up to help the veterans that allow us to live in the country that we live in. And there's a lot of flaws and problems, but they're not solved by veterans committing suicide. They're solved by us working together to make the world a better place. And I'm 100% committed to helping however I can to just reduce those numbers tremendously.
All I say for anybody that helps this mission is thank you and God bless. Okay, that's all I can do. Okay. Yeah. From what you just said, yes, first responders. Here we go with an ask and answer, right? Brian, why don't you help first responders? Wasn't one. Don't know the whole story behind them. But I do know that veterans make up a lot of first responders.
Definitely.
They do.
So, technically, I do help first responders. They just have to be veterans. I'm sorry.
Well, what's nice is if you help the veterans, that whether they're first responders or not today, that every veteran that you save helps save somebody else that you might not be in a position to touch. And I think that is why each of us are called to help others, because you never know how close somebody is to committing suicide. Because truly, the statistic that hit me the hardest years ago is that there's a lot of people who attempt suicide, but military, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it successfully. They're not going to send you a long flowery message that I'm thinking about doing this. It's just going to happen. And it makes it to where it is so vitally important that we reach out to the veterans in our community. And, I'm of an age where I was unaware of the Vietnam War until it was over and people were coming home. But I still know veterans today who were really traumatized by the poor reception they got when they came home. And I'm glad that other people in the following generation have had a better experience when they've come home, but it still is something that we need to do far more to support our veterans.
Oh, sister, look, Desert Storm, I walked in DC with the first ID. Okay. Parades are great. Love them. Shows off esprit de corps and all that. But you know what? The problems that still sit in the mind are still there. Yes, was it a little bit easier when recognition and hey, good job, right? But this is why when I go out and I give talks and stuff, and I tell people, you see us around town, you can't miss a veteran, okay? Well, you can, but they're going to wear the ball cap. They're going to wear the shirt. They got the tattoos. They got something that will ID them as a veteran. Even just their attitude, right? When you ask a veteran, hey, how's your day going? That's a loaded question. Because you might be the voice they needed to hear right then and there to open up.
Indeed.
So, not saying don't ask a veteran, but just be ready to sit there and listen. That's the whole thing of the fellowship breakfast. That's the whole thing of the overall mission of Project DieHard. Places where the veterans, the kingdom, and the community can all come together and help each other. Veterans can give a lot back to the community. I know this for a fact.
Indeed.
But see, they got to learn how to interact with civilians. And civilians got to learn how to interact with veterans. So come to a fellowship breakfast, break bread with heroes. You'll get to meet a few. Oh, build a facility. Come teach them something. Oh, file brush, sit by the pond right now and just talk with them. All right, guys, back to you guys. What do you got?
I see that we've got Kurt joining us as well. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in here. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. Station going. I feel like I've been whopped. Women of Project DieHard. Showing up in numbers here. I like it.
Wow. You are outnumbered.
That's good.
Kurt, always be confident within yourself. Okay.
I'll try.
Yeah, look, guys, I got sisters, female veterans, right? You all ain't seen nothing. I'm going to tell you about a friend of mine, Kim Van Sturtigum. Look her up. She's out west somewhere. We grew up together. I didn't know she joined the Army, and I joined the Army, and we were both at Fort Jackson. And somehow we got to, I'm going to have to really remember how it happened, but our drill sergeants talked, and I got sent up to, spend chaperoned at the time 5 minutes with her just to, hey, catch up. And that's when females got trained in one section, males got trained in the other. So I am 18 years old, buffed out, tanned up. I'm at South Carolina. It's a heat category, so I'm just wearing the brown t-shirt. And I'm walking down their center aisle of their barracks. And yeah, I know what women feel like because I have been catcalled.
Didn't expect that.
Okay, so yeah, look, be confident in who you are.
That's right. Brian, I want to share. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago called Veteran Talks, and it was totally sold out. 150 people showed up, and there were 8 veterans that were sharing their stories. However, everybody has a story. There were people, and the thing is, with everybody's story, we're all giving each other hope because everybody has something in their closet. And one of the gentlemen, in fact, I'm going to be supporting him. I'm going to one of his events. And he was talking about how he almost committed suicide, very, very, very close to it. He was almost there until he saw a flyer on his table, on his cocktail table, that he was invited to an event. And it could have been an event like yours. It could have been a fellowship with us. But it was that he had said he would attend. And when he did, he took the gun away from his head, and I forgot. I have that. That was the last time he thought about suicide. That gave him hope, and he was needed. He realized, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It just takes sometimes a thought, just get that thought out of your mind, and that flyer, which came out of nowhere, it was his way to get out of not ending his life.
Yeah, again. Hence, I'm going to go back to that second question. Why should I share the mission? Because I do believe everywhere we put things out, we say, check your vet. Don't give up.
Right. That's important.
Yeah, we say something to say, hey, guys, it's okay to talk. Girls, it's okay to talk. But that's why I need people to share the mission.
Right.
It's not just finding the resources. It's letting veterans know
Care.
that there's real people here that care.
That's right.
For them.
Right.
Okay.
Check your friend. Check your mother. Call me. Tell me you're thinking about me. We're all busy in our lives. I'm joking, but it's true.
I'm gonna say, wait a minute, Helene. You're going down a typical person's thing about mothers. You don't call your mother. You don't eat enough.
No, I'm just using it as a point. Just checking on somebody, giving somebody a call. You might not. At least show them you care. That's all. And I'm just using that as a.
No, it is. Look, folks, it's real simple. if I'm not sleeping, the DieHard phone is on. I don't put out the number here because I get enough calls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hard to find. Okay? But before the show, Sue and I were talking. Today, one veteran called in, and all that veteran wanted to do was talk. Praise be to God, that's all that veteran needed today.
Mhm.
But then we talked about last week in 17 in one day, where over half of them I had to say our facility isn't ready yet.
Part of why I think this is so important to do is being an accountant. I've worked in buildings where there's lots of nonprofits and mental health issues and various things around. And there was a time that I was walking through the lobby, and there was a gentleman who was waiting to be seen for some mental health issues. And you could tell he was already kind of shaking. And as we were going by, he had just a couple days earlier had given up his drug and alcohol addiction, and he was really in need of help and support. And I was appalled that the medical professional that he was meeting with that greeted him, instead of doing what I think would be a normal greeting for somebody like that of love and support, glad they're here, let's have a talk, they started to berate them because of their shaking and whatnot. And when the gentleman did say that he was just 2 days sober, that instead of praising him, she condemned him, that 2 days is nothing. And I, being somebody who is not afraid to stand up and get involved in stuff, I went over to him and I thanked him for what he did and for his recovery, and hoped that he would find the strength to make it to his third day of recovery. And ultimately, he decided to cancel his appointment with the therapist, and we went across the street and had lunch together. And I'm still friends with him to this day. And I did not realize how important it was when I stepped in to help him. But part of where I really view something that I hope that the Project DieHard will do is not only have volunteers out to help veterans be part of our community and know that there is hope out there and there are people that are available to help him, but also that we can't rely on the existing, medical system and the therapists and the stuff that's out there, because not everyone who has a license to practice should be in practice, in my personal humble opinion. And we've talked now that he's recovered, in the fact that how close he was to, he had thoughts of suicide going into his head after this person was kind of condemning him for the fact that he was just proud of himself, that he got himself to the appointment that day. And, it's deplorable when medical professionals do more harm than good. And there's enough veterans that are killing themselves that we don't need professionals to increase the number of deaths that happen in our community.
Sister, again, when I went out to the event at Dinkendine, okay, I know I've said it here on this podcast. Every facility is going to have what we're calling a wellness clinic. And if the VA doesn't recognize the treatment, it's more than welcomed at our facilities. Because there is not one recognizable treatment that fits everybody. Yes, folks, I know my video is frozen. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Technology. It's all good. You're here.
I'm looking at myself. I'm good. I'm happy. But yeah, again, folks, listen to the sister here. A professional berated a person for trying to get better. I ever catch that in my organization, may God have mercy on your soul. Oh no, he can take it. It could be somebody wanting help.
As someone who has personally been very close to wanting to die myself, that the critical thing that made a difference for me was as simple as when I was laying on the floor in my living room wanting to die, my cat came up and looked at me like, what are you doing? And just, having an animal in the house can sometimes, I've actually known somebody who had tried to commit suicide as a vet, and what got him out of bed every day and not kill himself was the fact that he had a dog that needed to be taken care of. And he would not get out of bed for anything else, but he'd get out of bed to feed his dog.
Okay, sister, look, we're not meeting till tomorrow, but here's a little tidbit of what we can be talking about. My idea of a service animal, a service dog for a veteran, right, is a veteran comes to Project DieHard and says, I want a service dog. Okay, here's your puppy. Puppies will bond with who takes care of them. That I guarantee, because I've had dogs, right? And then that veteran and the dog go through service dog training. And veteran gets a skill that he can go teach another veteran. The puppy gives them a reason to stay alive. I don't know. I might know what I'm doing.
This goes back to why we need our facility to be completed. I mean, you just said it was that recent day you had 17 phone calls in one day from veterans reaching out, and half of them, whatever the number was exactly, could have used a place to go. The facility would have made a difference for them. Well, why don't we have that facility completed and ready? Well, it's literally time and money. We've got the facility that was donated years ago, but it needs work. It's not ready for this function yet. This is where anybody listening can make a difference. You can pray for the mission. You can share this out so people know about this. You can volunteer here and make a difference and get this done faster. You can donate and literally make it get done faster, because it takes dollars to do all these things. There are so many ways people can reach out and make a difference. And it could be any of those. It could be all of those. Everybody's different. You're going to be in a different place today than where you're going to be 5 years from now when you think about this again. You have the power to make a difference. Are you going to? I'll step back off my soapbox now.
Oh, stay on it, sister. You're speaking with.
Well, can I ask something which you'll have to pardon my ignorance, but it's a question that I'm sure other people might be wondering is, we have, a Veterans Memorial building, across from our fairgrounds here, et cetera. Why aren't there more activities and things like that at, some of those types of meeting places, et cetera, that can help veterans and not necessarily replace what Project DieHard is doing in any way, shape, or form, but is it worth reaching out to various communities that have some facilities that may be underutilized, because I drive by there every day and there's nobody in the parking lot. It's a beautiful building, but there's nobody there. They're not using it. And
Again, once we get the power back on at Fotbrush, we do have space in there that can host prayer meetings, study groups, talking sessions, coffee time. That rolls back to the volunteer thing. Okay, until people decide they want to step up and do something, that's the issue. Okay. Just like if you saw Saturday. Saturday was Club 22 Day. There's a video out there somewhere of me standing in a big empty room that we can now use anytime we want to. Praise God for that blessing. But until we get volunteers to organize the event and do all that back end things, I'm not going to pull the trigger on an event.
how do we help you being in another state? I'm in California, about an hour north of the Golden Gate Bridge. How can I help the veterans that are right near me today that are not going to, even if you had a fully funded facility, they're not going to go cross country to go to a wonderful breakfast that you might have?
Oh, true, not to a breakfast, but when you say to a fully functioning facility, if a veteran is ready for the help and gets a year-long residence program at no cost, we'll get them to a facility. That's the easy part. But you're in California. Hey, this modern technology age, and it's why I ask everybody, share the mission. Tag somebody, because you know somebody who lives in Southern Illinois or Western Kentucky. You may not know them directly, but you got a friend who knows one and another friend who knows one. And you see how this all works? This magical social media thing? Yeah, folks, look, I want a facility in every state. Look, I hate to do this to you, Christine, but California is going to be the last, okay? I don't even want to attempt to get into those regulations that we would have to fall under.
I understand.
Okay, that's just wow.
I have an idea what we can do.
What?
In fact, so you're near, you're in Illinois, correct?
Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. And does Southern Illinois have any of its own local Facebook groups?
Yeah.
And does Southern Illinois, do they know about Project DieHard in the Southern Illinois Facebook groups?
The ones I know of, yeah.
Okay. Because, they're also, everything's by the town or even Kentucky, because the more local you can get, more, you might get.
Yeah. Again, look, everybody wants me to do these things. My job are veterans, i.e. volunteers. Look, I don't care where you sit in the nation. If you take on the task of, all right, I'm going to spend an hour a day and I'm going to share Project DieHard's post and I'm going to research and target people. That helps. That does help. Yeah. Uh, my video is frozen. My dogs are barking, and I'm getting a text from a veteran. So I am going to turn this back over to the team. Sue, you know what I say every week to my brothers and sisters. Just beat them up on it. Don't give up.
Got it.
Christine, I'll see you tomorrow at 2:00.
Definitely. I look forward to it, my friend.
Excellent. Oh, and Brian mentioned a video that he just put out. I'm going to pull that up and share it. Let's go ahead and just take a quick second here. It is this one. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Sure
Hey,
do.
y'all, DieHard 6 here. I want you to look behind me. You saw the post. We get to use this much space to bring the kingdom and the community together. The first thing I need is a team to organize the event. That's all I'm asking. You all have a blessed day. Hey, y'all, DieHard 6 here.
There it is. So, and I'll remind everybody too, with that, I know part of what he was talking about was Club 22. So first of all, there's that space and we can use it. Second piece of that puzzle is Club 22 is something that can happen anywhere. To be a Club 22 member means you are basically a restaurant or some place that serves up typically food, on the 22nd of the month. If you are a Club 22 member, that means if, say, I show up at where he was there at Southpaw Bar and Grill and say on the 22nd of the month, say, hey, I'm here with Project DieHard, or here's supporting Project DieHard, they will take a portion of whatever your bill was and they will donate it back to Project DieHard. That is something that can happen anywhere. We just need to get more and more restaurants on board with this and become a Club 22 partner. And then we just need to let people know when you go eat there on the 22nd of the month, magic happens. You get to have a wonderful meal. They get to donate part of that, whatever you had, back to Project DieHard, and it's a win-win, and it's a super easy way to raise money for this mission. So lots going on with all that.
I can specifically help with that. I'm connected with some restaurant owners, etc. And I could even see a couple of retail stores that I know that, for example, I know somebody that has a culinary shop and they, if you're looking for, a cake pan or sprinkles or, whatever, and they would probably, even though they don't serve food, they would probably be interested in doing something like that as well. That I think that's a good way to start to get recognition in my own community here of, buying bagels and going to your favorite restaurant and getting that done. We have a lot of restaurants in Northern California, obviously.
Excellent. Well, this could go anywhere. I mean, realistically, I know the Club 22 concept, I believe all was about restaurants, but why can't other retail places participate in this as well? Whoever says yes, right? It's all about supporting the mission here. So that you're expanding my world here and how I'm thinking about this. So thank you for that. So, well, and Kurt, I know you haven't had a chance to say much yet. I'm going to pass it over your way just a moment here to see. I know there's a bunch popping in the chat, and appreciate that very much. That's actually, I'm sure that's Kurt that's sharing all these. I'm going to show you guys what is being put up on messaging wherever this is showing right now. But Kurt, you haven't had a chance to say much. I'm going to pass it your way to see what your thoughts are and any news you have.
Yes, there's a few things. One is in our conversation, we're leaning on the expression of committing suicide. So this is where I came into this through water skiing. I went to a water ski event provided to injured and wounded veterans. And so then I got into these circles about suicide prevention. And then what is it that the suicide prevention advocates are talking about is our language. And so the idea is what they're asking for is that we shift away from the use of committed, because that makes the person that is falling victim to suicide, sound like a criminal, with saying committing suicide. So that just really shifts our energy around the whole thing, because this is what we feel in the mission. And that's what this mission has provided me a new lease on understanding this whole realm. Because before a decade ago, when I did some in this aspect, I really realized I had the wrong idea. I'm 54 years old, so I'm talking about approaching my mid 40s. And, having the wrong idea about this struggle, about this fight with the demons, in a few years here at Project DieHard. So to me, the suggestion is that that we look at our veterans out there that we're losing to suicide. It's talking about we lost a life to suicide. And like we talked about here at Project DieHard, losing the fight to the demons. So that's the aspect, is that if we have a built up response, that here at Project DieHard, the story that Brian has is what gave rise to this organization. This organization was lifted up to our Heavenly Father, and it became a calling, where Brian knows his life was saved by his Father in heaven. Brian knows that. That's the relationship between he and our Heavenly Father. And, it's through that, the experience of having the gun in your mouth and then the phone rings. So we now have check your vet. See, Brian knows firsthand the importance that he's here today to say all the stuff he said today because someone rang his phone. So that becomes the crux of Project DieHard. If we're not ringing the phones of veterans, that becomes, a review and a testimony to how we are failing this mission. So the idea is, once you know these things are true, there's no escaping that now you know. And the idea is it should be exciting for you to know, and all of us to know these things, because it's such a problem. We've fallen victim to succumbing to failure. See, we believe that this is such a big problem that I can't solve the problem. See, when I joined this mission, we got to doing this podcast. When Sue and I came here, we're like, well, for other stuff, Brian, we do podcasts. What do you think about doing a podcast? And he's like, well, what do you recommend? And we're like, well, you could do StreamYard, Restream. You could do it through Zoom, da-da-da-da-da. We reviewed it. We decided to use Restream. So we are here on Restream.io because we as a team, we made a discerned decision what we're going to do with the resources, and we got to work coming out and reaching you. Because the idea is, I didn't know in recent time in my life either. So all of us know here that if we share what we have come to know and we build this awareness, that this is a movement. This is an outreach. This is an outreach and an inreach to you out there as our viewer, that you have the power, you have the resource, time, and capacity to share this with people. Pick 3, pick 5, pick 7, pick 10, whatever your ambition could be, to say, hey, I just saw a podcast that really opened my eye to look at veteran suicide differently. And when we say, oh, check your vet, oh, I don't have a vet. It's like it's a free pass. The idea is we here at Project DieHard can help you be available to a veteran, that you can seriously pick up the phone and dial a veteran, and you're talking to a human being. Your soul is connecting to their soul through the telephone. Brian always says in person is best. That will never go away. That is the ultimate thing, but we need to look at what we can do. That's what I was taught in disability advocacy when I talk about injured, wounded vets. The disability advocacy is look at my ability, not my disability. And, the community of people with disabilities inspired me to get into the business of barrier demolition. Because the idea is that when you come to a point where you say, I can't this, that, or the other thing, there's the whole other half of what that's a calling to do, is to figure out how you permeate and persevere, and you get through that element to where you figure it out and you ask for help. You get a team here. Together, everyone achieves miracles. You ask for counsel. And when you have the brainstorming session with others, eventually you're like, oh, Thomas Edison visits you with the light bulb. Boom, ding, you got it. Aha, the aha moment. That's what this is about here. An outreach, an inreach, a movement. We are doing this one person at a time, organic growth, and we aim it to be viral, because this does need to span rapidly now. And so we have Tom Drysdale was on this show, several weeks ago. And last week I got to talk to Tom Drysdale from American Veteran Industries. And he said, Kurt, what we want to do with Patriot Day is we want to come out in a show like what he experienced here on Mondays. And he went with all the television, the PDH TV, and all the stuff. Come out in that fashion, and yes, use mass media. See, this is what I was inspired to do a decade ago, a dozen years ago. I was inspired to do this. And now I'm on a phone call last week with Tom, and he's inspired in the same way I was a dozen, years ago. And that's how this all works. We all come and join together, and we unify together, and we have this discernment. We pray under the power and the availability, and we are so thankful and grateful to our Heavenly Father that we ask for guidance, and we pray upon each of our members here. I pray upon Helene and Christine and Sue and myself and Brian and our whole leadership team and all of you out there, that we can come together the way our Heavenly Father more wants us all taken care of, especially our veterans that are in the battle with the demons. So we got on your Project DieHard. Text is a good call. Text is good. Call is better. Face-to-face is best. So yeah, I covered the call and the face-to-face. But yeah, text. So come to us. Go see your veteran service organizations around you. Go see a veteran service officer. Contact the VA. Go out there and volunteer this, that, hey, if I can offer my time to a veteran that would want to talk to me, I'm happy to be that person for that veteran. We need to discern that, press that upon your heart, and ask yourself, would you be willing to do that? Would you consider yourself a life-saving person? This is something that Sue and I have have done. We've done this in pre-hospital care. We were EMTs, EMT IV techs for 10 years. So we went out there to answer the call to save the lives of everybody in our local area. And what's happened in my life is I've decided that these veterans that we are failing, it's not veterans failing. I know Brian's tough about don't give up. Yes, we need that. Just like when you have a patient in pre-hospital care, if that patient is not a good patient and just gives up and, just decides to just call it a day, well then, yeah, it's not going to be a good ride to the ER room. So same thing here. We do need all of you veterans out there to hang in there and let us be a part of your response to the rest of your life. Sue, back to you.
Excellent. Well, I think this is a good time to bring us to, how we always wrap things up here together is to share a message of hope. What we each have a moment here to just share what our words are to our veterans out there who are listening. What message of hope do you have to share tonight? I know Brian always says, stick around, check your watch. What time is it now? Be here at the same time tomorrow. Do what you can and be here. Make that a priority. Just be here. I'm going to go around our room. Actually, I'm going to just go clockwise right around here and give you each a moment to share your message of hope for our veterans. Helene, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Oh, just got to unmute first. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for serving and making a difference in the world, making a difference in the USA, and know how much you are appreciated. And we all have our demons. We all have sadness. We've all had experiences that have not been pleasant. But now we have to look ahead and look at the hope. We have so much to serve and offer each other as community. We got to think about as being a people-powered community. And we all need you to teach us, show us, help us, rather than giving up. Don't give up. We need you, and we're all going to work together. And one other thing is, I'd like everyone who's listening, let's help Project DieHard. Whoever might have some extra cash around, he really needs help right now. He needs help with this, his facility, his power, and he does so much. He just wants his place to be. He wants everybody. He wants to serve so badly veterans. He wants to have a facility to help people who need housing. That's what his dream is, his vision. So I'd love to help Brian create his vision. And even though I'm here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he's in Illinois, he's still a brother. He's part of the community. And whoever could help, please do. Just, and then you'll feel good inside knowing this, he'll appreciate it. Some people don't appreciate it. I mean, I live in Las Vegas, the biggest gambling capital in the world, really. When I see how some people are just throwing, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, just think of Brian, veterans, all these nonprofit organizations. They could just benefit from people that are throwing less in the machines and throwing maybe more towards someone who really needs that assistance. So that is why I'm also working with the nonprofit TV. It's giving veterans, nonprofits a voice. And they get to actually air their voice, their needs for free on the nonprofit television, which is actually going all over the United States. Right now we're launching Las Vegas. So we have a lot of work to do ahead to help veterans, nonprofits, people with disabilities be seen, be heard, and feel recognized and appreciated for who they are. And that's all I have to say.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Helene. Kurt, did you want to add anything? Kind of heard your message of hope already. Any last words you want to share with that?
Teach me. Kurt at projectdiehard.org. Call, text me, 262-372-1754. And for more, kurt.now.site. Back to you, Sue. Thanks.
Excellent. And Christine, thank you so much for joining us here today. I want to give you a chance as well here to share what your words of hope are for our veterans.
Well, I just want to remind veterans that they already did the hardest thing a human being on the planet can do, that they showed up in ways that I, not being a military veteran, can appreciate, but can never truly understand the horrors that they experienced so I can have a great life. And that strength doesn't disappear the moment they take off their uniform. That strength doesn't disappear just because they are tired, exhausted, and feel like the world is not supporting them or understanding what they're doing. And that it's in those quiet moments that it's important for them to remember their story still matters, their life still matters, and that we need to stand behind them and help them survive, just so they can not only survive themselves, but also to be the light of hope that helps the next military veteran that, you know, is serving now or that's doing things that they have already survived, and they need to not only learn how to survive in active service, but how to survive in life afterwards, dealing with everything that they need to do, and that they can in turn not only save themselves, but also help future veterans that need their guidance and wisdom. And if they give up, then there's no reason for anybody else to hang in there. And so I hope and pray that none of them give up, and that they call and seek the help that they need when they need it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And my final word here is you have a purpose. You are here for a reason. God does not make mistakes, and he only made one of you. You are unique. You are special. You are important, and God's not done with you yet. Stick around. We will be back here next week. Join us again every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Central, and we look forward to seeing you then. For all of us here with Project DieHard, as always, we thank you.